What's going on, gamers? Hopefully everyone's had a great week. My week has been great. We got an interesting poster by Tim Sweeney basically calling out Gabe Newell, and I got a funny clip for us to watch when it comes to gaming affordability. We got a lot to talk about here. But what's interesting is how Tim Sweeney's not going to be able to get away with it because of the layoffs that happened at Epic this year. Yeah, you got the Steam community coming in defending Gabe Newell as usual, but I don't care. They can do that all they want. Still, anti-consumerism is everywhere, but raising up the price of that old hardware by $300 is still absolutely the worst. So here goes Tim Sweeney's post. It gets interesting. Become a member if you guys want for $3. Like, comment, subscribe, leave a tip down below. I appreciate that. Let's get into this. It gets interesting. This drama is far from over. Everyone's being too harsh here. This is what Tim Sweeney is saying. There has been a significant rise in the cost of components that Steam customer spending ultimately funds. So my thing here, approaching this differently, is that a lot of people thought that Valve, and they have some cultish mentality towards Gabe, that they can't do no wrong, and they're not anti-consumer. They can never do no anti-consumer moves at all. And he's kind of like being sarcastic towards that. That's why he says customer spending ultimately funds. That's why I try to tell people the same thing about NVIDIA. Then he says, and economic trends have created severe disruptions in the component part supply chain for mega yachts. Basically throwing jabs at Gabe. But what this does is this opens up a Pandora's box for gamers to also insult him with a comment like this. Hey, Tim, when was the last time Valve laid off their employees? Oh, yeah, never. You know what I mean? And then a comment out here comes, leave the multi-billion-dollar company alone. You know how this type of stuff works. It's actually kind of hilarious. Coheed says, Valve actually does do layoffs. You just don't hear about it because they are private. Correct. They're public. They don't have to report to no stock, or report to anybody, honestly, if they don't want to, because, yeah, they're private. But this stuff gets interesting because Tim Sweeney, knowing after he's done layoffs, everybody does layoffs, is going to come and say this because it has to also solidify the BS against PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo and grifting. Like, they just wanted to do that because they're greedy, right? But when you look at Steam, people are not saying Steam is being greedy. I'm like, how are they not? Their employees get paid more than anyone. Yes, I love that they're private, but $300 price increase for that old piece of hardware, man, get out of here. But guys, we're gonna get back to this. We got something very funny to look at here, and then we're gonna look at some more comments when it comes to this, because there's a lot to talk about on this subject, because there's something else that actually got said. Are we ready, guys? Let's go ahead and enjoy this.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this Twitter thing can be stupid annoying. I don't know why it's not. Yeah, it's being weird. What the hell? Okay, well, let's do this. For some reason, it's not letting me. Yeah, it's weird.
For coming here today. I've prepared a few words on the behalf of affordable gaming. So, my fellow gamers, today we're here to remember a dear friend of ours, affordable gaming. Born in 1983 and taken from us just far too soon.
What? Gone too soon. It's a shame.
This isn't gonna affect me much. I don't even play games.
You know, manufacturing costs increased and RAM became the price of a small used Honda Civic. And we tried to stay strong. You know, we said like $50, it's not that bad. And then Steam looked us dead in the eye. Said, how about 300? How about 300?
Hey,
Today,
what's with the tombstone?
I think it's all you had, man.
That's what grifting does to you.
So today we say goodbye. Goodbye to the phrase, I can actually afford that. And I'll never say that again. So now I would like everyone watching at home to press F to pay respects. Thank you. Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you so much.
Yeah, guys, pay your respects, please. Hopefully this is temporary. Yeah, better be.
All right, well, we got a podcast. So.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We're going to be getting back to the next post because it gets even more interesting here. Okay. So Pirate Nation posts again. It says Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney is getting backlash after attacking Gabe Newell following the Steam Deck OLED price hike and saying he needs the money to buy more super yachts. Valve says the increase are due to rising RAM and SSD component costs, but Sweeney wasn't buying it. I don't understand what the SSD has to do with the Steam Deck. Maybe they're talking about the Steam machine and they're trying to punish you in the Steam Deck world for that. Otherwise, like, what are you talking about? Because the SSD does not equate to this Steam Deck technology. Valve needs the extra revenue to continue maintaining its mega yachts. Is it using its base? Well, it's a pirate base. What do you expect? Pirate said he DM'd me after I tweeted about Steam Deck prices. I told him some things so people would hate less on him, like more support for Linux instead of crapping on it, and also improving the Epic Games Store to start. Yes, note suggesting context to be shown with the repost. Sweeney acknowledges the rise in component costs before sarcastically referencing a supply chain for mega yachts. The post misquotes him as denying Valve's explanation and claiming revenue is needed to maintain yachts. Isn't that interesting? Oh my. He apparently said it's a joke. Well, obviously. Cheap shots from someone who raised MTX on Fortnite and had to fire 1,000 employees this year. The funny thing is whether you say that or not, the thing is if you're not playing Fortnite and you're a Steam guy, you shouldn't be defending Valve. There's nothing wrong with him coming out saying that that's anti-consumer, but there's nothing wrong with you saying that he did something anti-consumer this year too when it comes to Fortnite. I get what you guys are saying. Newell says, "Holy effing jealousy, damn bro, throwing shade at the most beloved CEO will not earn you the street cred you think it will." Interesting stuff here. Sweeney, no saint, but Valve sits on billions from 30% Steam tax for 20 years. Gabe's network is 11 billion with a yacht fleet, but suddenly can't absorb a component spike. And this is the thing that I was saying before. They made a mistake when they just didn't leave the Steam Deck alone. You should have just retired it until the component costs came back and says, hey, you know what, we got some stock here because the prices went down. But this is what would have happened if we would have put it on the market. We would have had to charge you this much money, or this is what we decided to charge you or wanted to charge you. They didn't have to raise it up by $300. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely out of this world. It's still the most insane price hike I've seen this generation when it comes to electronic devices. We're not going to talk about GPUs because it's not an electronic device, but obviously NVIDIA is still the worst to a degree. This guy says, all slop peddling billionaires are cocksuckers. Both Sweeney and Gabe. Gabe is not your cool uncle. He's actually been ruining the gaming industry with his 30% Steam commission, which makes many indie projects unprofitable and forces developers to surrender to publishers in order to make money. The funny thing is that a lot of people don't understand is that, yeah, Steam are not saints. Like, they're not the type that runs the gaming industry and gives you the most. They don't give you any first-party games. You know what I mean? Like, they're not giving to the gaming community. Everybody makes money. We already know this. If somebody has to pay somebody, but Nintendo gives the most to the gaming community, and then Sony and Xbox. After, like, at least they're giving out games. Microsoft had to monopolize to get that underneath their belt. Sony actually built those partnerships. Nintendo started everything from the ground up, and they consistently give games and have been doing it for a very long time. They hardly ever do layoffs, and we all know this. And they inspire the most developers in the industry by a mile. Everybody's looked at their templates in development. They've helped out the most. It's not for question. They've created the most trends and most worlds that people follow and open, like Mario saving the gaming industry in general with consoles and Game Boy and handhelds. When we're talking about the Steam Deck right now, which came out of the shadow of the Switch. And then now we got them doing $49.99 games digital. Digital games should be cheaper. That's the example I like seeing here. And only doing a $50 price increase where you see Valve doing a $300 price increase for something that's significantly older. No, dude, there's no buying that. It's terrible. Chess.com says, this coming from the same guy who wanted to charge a royalty fee on Unreal Engine. Or Ubisoft tried to do something like that with, their engine. That didn't end up working out well. I don't know if you guys remember when they tried that a few years ago. Yeah, Ubisoft did. And there was a backlash on them doing that. It didn't end up turning out well. And don't get me started with the Unreal Engine 5 this generation. As much problems as it started, oh Lord, man, we can go on that all day. It's not even funny. Joseph says, yeah, and Sweeney created this disaster, and Carrie NC bought the mall a few years back, have demolished it for a new Epic campus, and now it looks like pure rut because they ran out of money. F that guy. Nah, it definitely didn't run out of money. Simp for Valve, all you goofballs won. Epic has done way more for gaming than any of you give them credit for. Well, their engines have for a long time, no doubt about that. They sit on a server farm and do nothing while winning, whereas Epic and companies like Unity have had to actually execute. That's what I'm saying, the Unity engine. We were just talking about that. This is everything wrong with this world. We don't hold companies' standards of actually producing things of value and actually doing stuff of a high quality. Yeah, all Valve is doing is giving discounts off of other people's games and holding them for you to play. Sure, they have cool policies, but I think a lot of people overrate them because I'm like, I can understand if they were given first-party games consistently, yearly, or at least every other year or something, but they're not doing that. It's a bunch of other people's games. So things drift to sloth and things fall apart, and one day we wake up and everything is crap because no one actually pressed the large entities in this world to maintain standards and production. This is why we no longer get nice things. Well, here's the thing. He's right. They're not producing any games. They're not developing any games. Gabe Newell has spent 20 years building the most developer-friendly platform in gaming, and Tim Sweeney is out here doing super yacht jokes while Epic exclusivity strategy is still the most resented move in PC gaming. Pick your battles. I find it funny that they really think that you think that it is the most developer-friendly platform. Everything has always been developed around consoles. Forever. The biggest third-party platform is PlayStation. The most support is on there. You've seen the profit. It absolutely trumps Steam. It's not even close, dude. Hey, man, I'm just saying. The only big growth in the PC world that actually matches PlayStation or has gotten bigger than it has been Capcom. Yeah, Capcom does very well on PC, but every other third-party developer and publisher have made the most money on PlayStation. Grand Theft Auto is an example of the biggest launch of all time. I want to go here because PC gamers going to try to mod my stuff. They're going to try to, when I mean like just mod, they're going to try to pirate my stuff. You're going to have to worry about the anti-cheat nonsense. Like, you're not making the most money. Rockstar actually ended up showing a chart showing who makes the most money for GTA. And it went to PlayStation. It's not even close. PC is not even close. There are a bunch of cheap people on there that don't support, but want to get the stuff that's supported the most by consoles. For example, GTA is where it's at because of the support for consoles. Then they try to make fun of it. It's like, oh no, you morons don't have any like ground to stand on. Definitely when you think about how much money has been fed to Nvidia and how much money has been fed to Microsoft, and you sitting over there buying the Steam Deck when it's $900. But you want to get GTA 6 day one, and it's that good because of the funding that came from consoles. And then you want to defend Valve like there's like the most friendly. It's like, how is any of this friendly? It's not, that's what you're imagining. It's all BS. None of them are. Immortal Afro says, look, bro, I'm a fan of 10, but we really need to make sure full context is established before running at breakneck speed just to get a story out. Can we focus on being correct instead of being first? I don't really see the point of that post. Every Tim Sweeney and Gabe Newell interaction, I feel bad for you. I don't think about you at all. Well, see, so we're kind of getting the idea here that no matter what you say about Tim, he has a right to still criticize that price tag. Like, dude, that's still a bad decision. If they want to criticize him back, let them criticize him back. He says Valve and Gabe is in an unenviable position and had to make a tough call. But Sweeney should shut the F up because he'll do the exact same thing, but significantly worse. Probably. But the funny thing is, how do you think it's a tough call for a product that the world does not want to buy, that sells out like crazy and sells millions of units? Dude, you sold 5 million copies or 5 million devices in like 5 years. It's not ruling the world or anything. The Switch 2 ate your lunch the first month. You could have just put it off the market. So we don't need to have this on the market. But instead, you wanted to make a lot of extra money off of a over-brainwashed base that believes that you're friendly. But it's putting a $1,000 device in front of you with tax that should not even come close to that. Thing should be like $400. Look at the price of the Switch 1 OLED. But you have these people coming in waves, and that's the thing, because they want to defend their code ideology. A stick of RAM that costs $180 now costs over $700 today. Yeah, Tim has been living under a rock. But the funny thing is that they're talking about SSD. SSD has nothing to do with the Steam Deck. It's not using no SSD. It's an odd statement considering Steam frequently sells games for like 70 to 80% off. So does the PlayStation Store. It does it consistently. Deep discounts. Go look at it right now. They've probably saved gamers more money than any store or platform. That's the funny thing. It's on PlayStation right now. You can go all the way down the list. It's absolutely insane. If Sony has been doing this for years, what do you think they make the most? I look on there, a lot of shovelware, and that's also popping up a lot now in the PlayStation world, and it has been for years. Same thing in Nintendo shop. But Sony does the deep discounts too, like crazy. So don't try to act like it's only Steam doing that. That's BS. So everything here is people coming in to basically turn the picture at Tim Sweeney so that it's all okay that Valve did this. This is the problem with the gaming community. It's like you go to like a lot of sides and it gets interesting because you're like, a lot of people are slow on a lot of sides. And this is why you got to bring the equilibrium down and let them know that I don't get the point here. What is wrong with what he said when he says Valve needs the extra revenue to continue maintaining its mega yachts? Because their employees make like 40 to 50 something million a year. They didn't need to do that. Like I said, the best decision they could have did is wait out longer. Waiting out on the Steam machine. So in the process, put that back on the market and just overcharge you a ridiculous price. They're all right. And they wouldn't have gotten hurt at all. That's the problem here. But of course, people want the world to see them only in a certain light to where you don't see any negativity. And that's called being blind. I've done this for multiple platforms. And now we have to talk about Steam here because once again, the Steam fanboys are just absolutely blind. Tim Sweeney doesn't have a platform. Yeah, he has an app, but is he a saint? Obviously not, no. But is he right by what he's saying? I think it's an interesting comment. What's wrong with that? Somebody with influence is actually coming out, a huge influence in saying that. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But does he open himself up to be criticized like this because of that? Yeah, obviously. So yeah, I want you guys to let me know what you think about this. Like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment down below. It gets interesting. But I wonder if Valve is going to come out and respond to this or say something about him. I don't think they will. They're the type to just remain silent and watch. And Gabe Newell might just go scuba diving after that. Later, y'all.